What is Tennessee agriculture? The answer to that question is as colorful as the state itself. From the mountains of East Tennessee with livestock, dairies, and tobacco, to the rolling hills of Middle Tennessee with nurseries, orchards, and vegetable production, to the flatlands of West Tennessee where row crops are king, Tennessee's agriculture is unlike any other state. We are one of the most agriculturally diverse states in the nation, made possible because of our rich soil, good climate, and rainfall. Farming continues to dominate Tennessee's landscape, with some farms passed down from generation to generation, while others are the pride of young farmers beginning a new tradition. Our farmers produce the finest foods, healthiest livestock, and are the best stewards of the land you'll find anywhere. The state is naturally divided into three diverse regions. Farms in the mountains of East Tennessee are smaller because of terrain. Farms in the west take advantage of flat delta land and tend to be much larger. And in between, in Middle Tennessee, farms range from a couple of hundred acres to several thousand. As varied as the state is, our farmers, no matter what they produce, share something very important in common: a love of the land and an appreciation for what it produces. In West Tennessee, row crops stretch out as far as the eye can see. Corn, cotton, and soybeans are the primary crops, and farmers have the option of shipping their grain down the mighty Mississippi River or by rail or truck. There are also plenty of cattle raised here as well. In Middle Tennessee, there's still plenty of row crop land for corn and soybeans and some cotton, and while the rolling hills and more populated cities mean less land for farms, there's lots of livestock production, primarily with cattle, but also with goats and sheep. There are also many poultry houses for broiler production, which, along with cattle and calves, is one of the state's top commodities. Tobacco is one of the top crops in northern Middle Tennessee, and while nursery production is big business throughout the state, it's nowhere as concentrated as it is around Warren County. In East Tennessee, the more mountainous region makes for a cooler climate and a shorter growing season, but agriculture is still everywhere. Embedded throughout the hills and hollows, crops like corn and tobacco flourish. Fruits and vegetables are plentiful, and Christmas tree farms dot the landscape. This is where you'll find the most dairy farms in the state, plus lots of beef cattle and poultry operations are a perfect fit in those spots where the land isn't suitable for growing crops. In each region of the state, agritourism operations continue to expand, helping bring more income to our farmers, but also helping to share their important story to the general public. These range from a pick-your-own type of operation to corn mazes, trail rides, learning centers, and much more. And throughout the state, the equine industry is one of the largest in the nation. Horses can be found in every county, and the Tennessee Walking Horse and the National Celebration in Shelbyville is known all over the world. Tennessee agriculture isn't limited to only food and fiber. Biofuels is becoming an important component to many farms across the state. Crops like corn, soybeans, and switchgrass are being grown to fill a growing demand for alternative fuels, and Tennessee has become a national leader in its research and development of the biofuel industry. And for many years, forestry has been a vital part of Tennessee's agricultural landscape. It provides thousands of jobs and helps promote clean water, wildlife habitat, and recreation. Our forests and resources allow us to rank nationally in hardwood production. Tennessee agriculture is keeping Tennessee growing, from the mountains to the flatlands. And the men and women who farm here remain the world's most eternal optimists. For no matter the droughts, floods, or freezes, no matter the insect infestations, the withering diseases, or price fluctuations, these hard-working people continue the tradition of planting in the hope of a better yield, a better product, a better life, and a better Tennessee.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world. At AgriCenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At AgriCenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
What is Tennessee agriculture? The answer to that question is as colorful as the state itself. From the mountains of East Tennessee with livestock, dairies, and tobacco, to the rolling hills of Middle Tennessee with nurseries, orchards, and vegetable production, to the flatlands of West Tennessee where row crops are king, Tennessee's agriculture is unlike any other state. We are one of the most agriculturally diverse states in the nation, made possible because of our rich soil, good climate, and rainfall. Farming continues to dominate Tennessee's landscape, with some farms passed down from generation to generation, while others are the pride of young farmers beginning a new tradition. Our farmers produce the finest foods, healthiest livestock, and are the best stewards of the land you'll find anywhere. The state is naturally divided into three diverse regions. Farms in the mountains of East Tennessee are smaller because of terrain. Farms in the west take advantage of flat delta land and tend to be much larger. And in between, in Middle Tennessee, farms range from a couple of hundred acres to several thousand. As varied as the state is, our farmers, no matter what they produce, share something very important in common: a love of the land and an appreciation for what it produces. In West Tennessee, row crops stretch out as far as the eye can see. Corn, cotton, and soybeans are the primary crops, and farmers have the option of shipping their grain down the mighty Mississippi River or by rail or truck. There are also plenty of cattle raised here as well. In Middle Tennessee, there's still plenty of row crop land for corn and soybeans and some cotton, and while the rolling hills and more populated cities mean less land for farms, there's lots of livestock production, primarily with cattle, but also with goats and sheep. There are also many poultry houses for broiler production, which, along with cattle and calves, is one of the state's top commodities. Tobacco is one of the top crops in northern Middle Tennessee, and while nursery production is big business throughout the state, it's nowhere as concentrated as it is around Warren County. In East Tennessee, the more mountainous region makes for a cooler climate and a shorter growing season, but agriculture is still everywhere. Embedded throughout the hills and hollows, crops like corn and tobacco flourish. Fruits and vegetables are plentiful, and Christmas tree farms dot the landscape. This is where you'll find the most dairy farms in the state, plus lots of beef cattle and poultry operations are a perfect fit in those spots where the land isn't suitable for growing crops. In each region of the state, agritourism operations continue to expand, helping bring more income to our farmers, but also helping to share their important story to the general public. These range from a pick-your-own type of operation to corn mazes, trail rides, learning centers, and much more. And throughout the state, the equine industry is one of the largest in the nation. Horses can be found in every county, and the Tennessee Walking Horse and the National Celebration in Shelbyville is known all over the world. Tennessee agriculture isn't limited to only food and fiber. Biofuels is becoming an important component to many farms across the state. Crops like corn, soybeans, and switchgrass are being grown to fill a growing demand for alternative fuels, and Tennessee has become a national leader in its research and development of the biofuel industry. And for many years, forestry has been a vital part of Tennessee's agricultural landscape. It provides thousands of jobs and helps promote clean water, wildlife habitat, and recreation. Our forests and resources allow us to rank nationally in hardwood production. Tennessee agriculture is keeping Tennessee growing from the mountains to the flatlands, and the men and women who farm here remain the world's most eternal optimists. For no matter the droughts, floods, or freezes, no matter the insect infestations, the withering diseases, or price fluctuations, these hard-working people continue the tradition of planting in the hope of a better yield, a better product, a better life, and a better Tennessee.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At AgriCenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At AgriCenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy to complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
What is Tennessee agriculture? The answer to that question is as colorful as the state itself. From the mountains of East Tennessee with livestock, dairies, and tobacco, to the rolling hills of Middle Tennessee with nurseries, orchards, and vegetable production, to the flatlands of West Tennessee where row crops are king, Tennessee's agriculture is unlike any other state. We are one of the most agriculturally diverse states in the nation, made possible because of our rich soil, good climate, and rainfall. Farming continues to dominate Tennessee's landscape, with some farms passed down from generation to generation, while others are the pride of young farmers beginning a new tradition. Our farmers produce the finest foods, healthiest livestock, and are the best stewards of the land you'll find anywhere. The state is naturally divided into three diverse regions. Farms in the mountains of East Tennessee are smaller because of terrain. Farms in the west take advantage of flat delta land and tend to be much larger. And in between, in Middle Tennessee, farms range from a couple of hundred acres to several thousand. As varied as the state is, our farmers, no matter what they produce, share something very important in common: a love of the land and an appreciation for what it produces. In West Tennessee, row crops stretch out as far as the eye can see. Corn, cotton, and soybeans are the primary crops, and farmers have the option of shipping their grain down the mighty Mississippi River or by rail or truck. There are also plenty of cattle raised here as well. In Middle Tennessee, there's still plenty of row crop land for corn and soybeans and some cotton, and while the rolling hills and more populated cities mean less land for farms, there's lots of livestock production, primarily with cattle, but also with goats and sheep. There are also many poultry houses for broiler production, which, along with cattle and calves, is one of the state's top commodities. Tobacco is one of the top crops in northern Middle Tennessee, and while nursery production is big business throughout the state, it's nowhere as concentrated as it is around Warren County. In East Tennessee, the more mountainous region makes for a cooler climate and a shorter growing season, but agriculture is still everywhere. Embedded throughout the hills and hollows, crops like corn and tobacco flourish. Fruits and vegetables are plentiful, and Christmas tree farms dot the landscape. This is where you'll find the most dairy farms in the state, plus lots of beef cattle and poultry operations are a perfect fit in those spots where the land isn't suitable for growing crops. In each region of the state, agritourism operations continue to expand, helping bring more income to our farmers. but also helping to share their important story to the general public. These range from a pick-your-own type of operation to corn mazes, trail rides, learning centers, and much more. And throughout the state, the equine industry is one of the largest in the nation. Horses can be found in every county, and the Tennessee Walking Horse and the National Celebration in Shelbyville is known all over the world. Tennessee agriculture isn't limited to only food and fiber. Biofuels is becoming an important component to many farms across the state. Crops like corn, soybeans, and switchgrass are being grown to fill a growing demand for alternative fuels, and Tennessee has become a national leader in its research and development of the biofuel industry. And for many years, forestry has been a vital part of Tennessee's agricultural landscape. It provides thousands of jobs and helps promote clean water, wildlife habitat, and recreation. Our forests and resources allow us to rank nationally in hardwood production. Tennessee agriculture is keeping Tennessee growing from the mountains to the flatlands, and the men and women who farm here remain the world's most eternal optimists. For no matter the droughts, floods, or freezes, no matter the insect infestations, the withering diseases, or price fluctuations, these hard-working people continue the tradition of planting in the hope of a better yield, a better product, a better life, and a better Tennessee.
Welcome, 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 everyone. And thank you for coming to AgriCenter's 2023 Ag Day celebration. I'm Larry Robinson, and as the old commercials used to go, and I am a recovering agriculture enthusiast. I'm an agriculture enthusiast because the fact that I got here about 3 years ago when John Butler and the team here had us produce and work with them on Feast on the Farm. And I can tell you, I have learned so much. So to all the young people, because the older people will know, the old folks already know, you ever hear someone say you're in the right place at the right time? Well, that's exactly where you are right now, because you're going to hear from some amazing people. You're going to also, you're in the right place because of the fact that agriculture is so expansive. It's amazing, all the various industries that's attached to it. And you think about this for a second. Think about this for a second. There's no industry other than agriculture that actually is involved with every single person every single day. Think about it. You got two things. Everybody eats, and everybody would like to wear clothes at some point. So once again, just an amazing industry, and it's hotter than fish grease right now. So you're at the right place at the right time. And when you look back years from now, you're going to be this day, I was at the right place at the right time. So in talking about hotter than fish grease, this cat that I'm inviting up, he's going to say the blessings, but later on, we're going to talk about the amazing work that he's doing. So without further ado, the Chief Executive Officer of the SEAM, Mark Pryor, come on up to say the blessing. Now, before Mark gets started, I would like for all of us, real quickly, to have a moment of silence for the families that were impacted in Nashville yesterday. So, thank you.
Thank you, Larry. We can pray. Heavenly Father, we gather here today at AgriCenter International, united by our passion for agriculture, and we give thanks for the abundance and blessings that you have provided. We are grateful for those who labor in the fields, care for the land, and contribute to the food that sustains us. Bless the educators who instill knowledge and respect for agriculture in the next generation. As we partake in this meal, may it nourish our bodies and remind us of our interconnectedness with your creation. Help us to be responsible stewards and to work together for a prosperous and sustainable future. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Let me now introduce AgriCenter's fearless, innovative, and forward-thinking leader. And notice I didn't say handsome, because he's not quite as handsome as I am. Nevertheless, welcome John Butler, CEO of AgriCenter.
So one thing you'll find out about Larry and myself, sometimes we agree to disagree. One of the things I love about Larry is that, I get to share the mic with him today. He's a great co-host. He has a wonderful sense of humor, but he really has the ability to communicate in a way that's very authentic, and I always appreciate having the opportunity to partner with him on events like this. I want to welcome you as well. I want to thank you for sharing your day with us. And I also just want to remind you, at the end of our presentations, we want to ask you to, you'll hear a couple different announcements, but join us in the upper barn for an ice cream social. And if anybody wants to ask what that looks like, just follow me and I'll walk you through the steps, okay? Larry's a really incredible guy. So he runs a production company called Kazukian. Those of you who hadn't had the opportunity to look at them, I wish you would. Larry's been on campus for several years now. His team is back in the back filming this for us, and we certainly appreciate all the things that they do, and so I just want to thank them. He also has a company called Lasting Perceptions, which really specializes in marketing and advertising strategies. And those of you that know me, you have to be able to sell and tell your story. And I think a lot of you will appreciate those comments. But one of the things that I certainly love about coming to, the nonprofit a couple of years ago was the fact that we could really start looking at our strategic initiatives and how we wanted to interface with the community. And this is just one of those great programs that highlights that. So, I hope you take a moment and let all this kind of wash over you, but we are here to celebrate the guys and gals that are out there every day producing food and fiber for all of us. So as a farmer, I can just tell you it's a very humbling experience. And sometimes, some years are more humbling than others. How about that? If you remember last summer, if I were to ask the audience for I'm going to ask you for some feedback. What'd you notice about last summer that was unusually? It was what? Hot and dry, right? It was incredibly hot and incredibly dry. And so those of us in the ag industry, we call that a drought. And so it hit us in a lot of different ways. But as a farmer, we learned two things about dealing with weather. We learned to persevere, and we learned that next year is going to be, better. And so our hopes for this year, our prayers for this year is that we have a great planting season, and we have an abundant crop, a beautiful amount of rainfall in a very timely way. And a lot of things you'll notice about farmers is that when they walk around town, you can tell a farmer from his blue jeans. Y'all know how? Well, these are new pants, but if they were my older pants, their knees would be wore out. And yes, there's lots of reasons why farmers are on their knees. Could be we're checking depth of the seeds we're planting, but it's also because we all have a very strong faith. So it's just really important to understand that to be here in this industry at this moment, you also have to be a person of faith and confidence in your work and your labors. And so it's an honor to have the chance to welcome you to the campus today. And it's also an honor for me to have the opportunity to welcome our next speaker. He's a friend of mine, and he has a really incredibly exciting job. He's a director for Shelby County government for all of the Public Works Division, which means that he's basically on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Director Cliff Norville is a lifelong resident of Shelby County. He's a licensed professional engineer in the state of Tennessee, and he's worked in that industry for over 34 years. In 2019, Mayor Lee Harris appointed him as Shelby County Director of Public Works. And not only am I lucky, the organization, AgriCenter, is lucky, but he also volunteers and serves on the AgriCenter Commission. And so we have several board members and commissioners here today, and I'd just like for you to raise your hand, please, if you serve on our board of directors or also as an AgriCenter commissioner. I want to thank y'all for your service. I really appreciate that. And I also want to just take this opportunity to allow Director Norville to come up on the stage. So Cliff is here to bring a message from Mayor Harris. Director Norville.
Greetings and salutations from Mayor Lee Harris. And that's pretty much the formal part taken care of. And I'm not a real formal guy. And so I have bequeathed a welcome from Mayor Harris to you. Shelby County, as John said, is sort of spread across the agricultural community. We don't always get a lot of press for that, and a lot of people don't understand the commitment that Shelby County has in the agricultural industry. We do have partnerships and relationships with AgriCenter International. Obviously, we're here. We also work with Dr. Cooper and the UT Extension, and we provide support for them. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Soil Conservation District. We work with them and try to help them in their mission of preserving the soil and flooding conditions. The Chickasaw Basin Authority is another entity that Shelby County participates in, and their mission is largely flood control as well. But we've also ventured into some of our own little projects. I don't know how many of you have ever taken part in growing your own garden, but Shelby County has sort of set aside about 600 acres over here at Shelby Farms for the community gardens. It's been around as long as I've been alive, because I remember some older folks who I used to hang around with always complaining about the deer population and the raccoons digging out their watermelons before they even got to pick them. And so guess what? They're still complaining about the same things about 50 years later. So we've been very interested and committed in preserving and boosting the agricultural industry in Shelby County for many, many years. I'm a city slicker. As John said, I went to Christian Brothers University. I've been in Memphis my whole life, but that doesn't mean that I haven't had brushes with the agricultural industry, and I also have learned that you never stop learning. I had the privilege of having great-grandparents and grandparents who farmed in Crockett County before my grandfather came down here to go work for Sears Roebuck. And as I was a kid, I used to go out there and enjoy that experience on the farm. But when I married my wife, her father actually grew up on a farm in Olive Branch, Mississippi. He was the oldest of 13, and he decided that as soon as he got old enough, he was leaving. But he ended up working for Associated Milk Producers for 38 years. And so I had the privilege to learn a little bit from him, so much so when they used to hold the Mid-South Fair at the fairgrounds. Now, I'm looking around this audience, and most of you have never experienced that. But they used to have the Mid-South Fair at the fairgrounds, and because my father-in-law worked with the AMPI, he was in charge of working the milking parlor at the livestock barn. And so he drafted me and my brother-in-law and a couple other of us to go over there and milk those cows, because just because they're showing doesn't mean they don't need to be milked twice a day. And so I was indoctrinated to the milking process, about 400 cows a day for a week, twice a day. And so you learn lessons when you are thrust into that of real-life lessons that could be learned in a milking parlor. And one of those lessons was this. First lesson was that cows are not house-trained. All right? That's an important lesson. A lot of things are factored into that lesson. You learn where the appropriate places to stand are in a milking parlor and where you do not stand. You do not wear your Sunday go-to-meeting clothes into a milking parlor, because there are certain things that happen in a milking parlor that end up with lasting stains. And so you do not wear your nice clothes to the milking parlor. I also learned that cows are heavy and not fluffy. You know, when we see them on TV or in a movie, we think, oh, that's a nice cuddly little cow. They are heavy. And I learned that the hard way, because sometimes cows don't want to go through the chutes at the milking parlor, and you have to encourage them. And I got pinned in between three one day, and one of them stepped on my foot. And I thought, well, it was almost that cartoon thing. I felt like my foot was so flat I could slide it in a mail slot. But I have never felt such pain in all my life. So I learned that you pay attention to where you stand and where you step and where the cows step. And I also learned from that experience that there's a reason why cowboys do not wear loafers. In the holding pen for when we were processing these 400 cows, life happens. And at the end of the day, one of my jobs, in addition to milking the cows, was to also clean out the holding pen. And so you learn very quickly there's a reason why the boots have a little bit higher rise on it, and you don't want to wear your sneakers or your loafers into the holding pen. But all kidding aside, I learned a lot of other things too, and interacting with the people during those experiences, there's an incredible respect that I have for them because of their discipline in life. Folks don't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning necessarily every single day of their life, and they don't get up and milk cows twice a day every single life because they just want to. It's something that needs to be done, and it requires discipline. And I learned a great respect for the people in the cattle industry as well as the agricultural industry as well. And tied directly to that, when we were in the barn, I got to meet a lot of great people that would come back year after year, and there's just a great sense of community because we are all in this together. So incredible lessons to be learned from the agricultural industry. And I just am considered a privilege to be here among you, and I want to thank you for your commitment, and we all need to continue to work together so that you're a success as much as possible. So thank you very much.
So Cliff, I have to say this. I knew you were going to tell a story about it. I didn't know you were going to tell that story. So I have a couple of suggestions. He mentioned one of them, but I think boots have been extremely important. And then two, does anybody else know beside me, where do you stand behind a cow to not get kicked? You stand right behind them. You just hug up as close as you can as you're pushing them down the chute. Anybody know how a cow kicks? Short lesson, a little bit sideways, that's right. So you just got to stay right on them. If you ever get off, you'll know to stay right on. That's what you get for growing up on a cattle farm. The other thing I'll just make a point to, and we haven't asked for a raise of hands here, but how many of y'all are involved in the ag sector? And that means if you're a gardener, so my wife planted her bok choy that she had grew in the laundry room 3 or 4 days ago. So she always reminds me that she is just as much a farmer as I am. And I say yes, ma'am, to that. How many of y'all, raise your hands, how many of y'all are farming? Come on. I know it's more than 5 or 6. All right. I know. There you go. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to just officially give y'all a hand so everybody join me. That's right. So whether you're providing food, fiber, or fuel for 3 people or 3,000 people, you're super important to, what we do in our story here in the Delta. One of the things I love about growing up here is because of the diversity. I was talking to somebody earlier about, what they were experiencing, and they were already planting corn and seeing some corn planters roll. And where I'm from, a little bit north of here, we got the planter out of the shop. It's not hooked to the tractor yet. We're certainly hoping we can get hooked in a couple of days, but we're still probably about 10 days out from getting some of our clay soils to warm up enough to get some seed in the ground. Moving on with the agenda, I do have the honor to introduce the next guest, and she represents the Department of Agriculture as a West Tennessee Public Affairs Coordinator, and that's Ms. Colleen Curry. She joined the department in 2015. And I'll just have to say that I got the chance to meet both her and her husband over the last couple years, and they're just pure joy to be around. I certainly have every time had a chance to meet with them, just been a rewarding experience. It's my honor to have the opportunity to introduce Ms. Colleen Curry to the stage. Ms. Curry?
Thank you, John, very much. I do have the privilege and the honor of serving on the board here at AgriCenter International. And, sometimes we say that we don't appreciate what we have in our own backyard, but I do appreciate all the work that's done here by John and his outstanding staff, just on the research and ag innovation and education side, and that is just a small part of what they do here. So again, thank you, John, very much. Well, from our Commissioner of Agriculture, Charlie Hatcher, I do welcome you all to this event. I am not going to get into a lot of what we do at the Department of Ag, just for time purposes. I did leave brochures on all the tables, which kind of detail what the Department of Agriculture does for the citizens of the state of Tennessee. In short, I can just sum up and say that we have over 800 employees who work hard every day to ensure we have healthy forests, healthy livestock, and a very safe food supply throughout the state. I just do want to share just some ag data with you, just some facts and figures, especially some of you young people in the crowd may find it of interest. We have 69,500 farms in the state of Tennessee. The average farm size is about 154 acres. 40% of the land in Tennessee is farmland. 342,000 people are employed by the agriculture and forestry industries. We have an annual economic impact to our state of $81 billion. Agriculture is number 1 in state. Tourism is number 2, but ag is number 1. We have 129 farmers markets. With that being said, I do want to give a shout out to Patrick Ellis for all the good work that he does with the farmers market here at AgriCenter. Thank you, Patrick. Our top commodities are soybeans, corn, cotton, hay, wheat, tobacco, cattle, chickens, fresh market tomatoes, and dairy products. We are one of the top beef producing states, with our cattle herd numbers totaling around 900,000. Our Tennessee forests encompass about 14 million I think all of you heard me, so I won't repeat any of those. But I do want to give special recognition to the young people in this crowd. I enjoy this event every year. I think anytime we can touch young people with any part of the agricultural industry and, pique their interest, I think it's so vitally important. And I just want to say, all of you young people out there, a good part of my job is educating young people about the importance of agriculture and speaking to them about pursuing careers in agriculture. I just challenge all of you young faces in this crowd, go be an advocate for agriculture. Talk to your friends, talk to your teachers, your parents, community leaders. You know, I would love it if you make it kind of part of your daily life to talk about the importance. As Larry summed it up beautifully, there isn't a single part of agriculture that doesn't impact our daily lives. So again, all of you be advocates, go out and spread the word, and I challenge all of you that one of you in this audience may be standing up here where I am, you know, due to the fact that I'm just a couple months away from the Denny's senior citizen menu options. I would be very pleased to hear that one or several of you would be interested in pursuing a career in agriculture. So again, thank you very much. On behalf of our Commissioner Charlie Hatcher and our Governor Bill Lee, I welcome all of you here today. And again, thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Colleen. Today, we are honored to have a panel of experts discussing how agriculture has impacted their lives. So would Mark, Allison, Andrew, and Micah please take the stage? Andrew, I have your mic. Serving as our moderator today is Mark Pryor. Mark is the chairman and chief executive officer of the SEAM. The SEAM is a provider of food and agribusiness software and trading solutions. Joining Mark on the stage are Allison Franklin, Andrew Melton, and Michael Gerheim. Allison is the area sales leader for South for Corteva AgriScience. Andrew is the regional vice president and mentor in the internship program for Farm Credit Mid-America. And Micah Gerheim is the owner of Gerheim Ag Services, a rice and grain merchandising and marketing firm for the Delta region.
Thank you, Larry, and thanks to our esteemed panelists here today. This is going to be fun. Get a little space here. All right, so what we're going to do is just kind of go through some general questions about agriculture in general and what it means to you and how you got into it. And then there's going to be some specific questions to you and your role in your respective organizations and your contribution to agriculture. So I guess the first question, and we'll start with Allison and then work our way around. What is it that nudged you to get into agriculture? You've been in the trade for a number of years. What is it that kind of gave you the nudge?
Maybe there. Yeah, thanks for the question. I'm first nervous that I was called an expert of anything, so I don't consider myself that. But so I grew up originally on the east side of the state, and I grew up in Knoxville, and I was a city girl. I grew up 10 minutes from Neyland Stadium. And I didn't know what ag was, but I had friends that were part of the Institute of Agriculture at UT, and we're going to school in agriculture. And to be quite honest, I grew up and I needed money. I needed scholarship money. And I was struggling. I came from a very meager family, and I thought I wanted to do international business, but the competition to get scholarships at the College of Business at UT, it was tough. And so I had friends that were at the College of Agriculture, and they said, you know, they're looking for really good students that might have an interest in ag. And by the way, agriculture is international, right? It's just not in your backyard. So I joined the College of Agriculture not knowing what I was getting myself into. But I got a job on the agriculture campus and immediately fell in love and worked on campus all 4 years. I was the only girl in my sorority that was taking classes learning about the gestation period of a pig. You know, all my sorority sisters thought that was very interesting while they were in architecture school or College of Nursing, and I was studying animals. And so with that, what really brought me, though, were the people. And it was the people were down to earth. They knew the importance of a hard day's work. They were genuine. They were kind. And when I was able to surround myself with the other students and then professors, I thought, this is the place where I want to surround myself with these people all day, every day. And I could find myself being in an industry that did this. At that time, there wasn't a lot of women in that industry, and so it was really a unique opportunity. I interned for a company in college and then took a job right after school after then. That's been 25 years ago. So it was a good decision for me to stay and the impact that now that I get to have on ag every day. And I didn't know anything about agriculture growing up. So I lucked into a great industry for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you. And you're right. Agriculture is absolutely a relationship industry. I think, and I've been doing it for maybe 25 years or so in the space, which is young compared to many. But I found that that no one in the ag space that you would go and ask a question to would not take the time to explain it to you. And I'm still a student of the industry, but that's the one thing that's just been remarkable. Is pull up a chair, let me show you, or come on out here, and that has been 100% of the time throughout my entire career, whether it's something in technology or sitting with a farmer or sitting with industry trade organization. It's very unique, and I'm proud to be a part of it, but thank you, that's very good. Micah, what about you? What got you into agriculture? I know you've got a family farm, and that's probably a real key part, but give us a little background.
It is. I'm from northeast Arkansas, a little town called Truman, about an hour west of Memphis, and grew up on my family farm there. Cotton, corn, soybeans, rice was grown. So as you grew up in the flat land, or in the flat land in the hills, but with concrete, mine was flat land and dirt, all the dirt for as far as you can see. The biggest hill in northeast Arkansas was the levee or a speed bump. So, but growing up on the farm and starting to go to college, and I was going to be a sports broadcaster. I'd already figured it out. And my uncle said, "What's the rules of soccer?" And I said, "I don't know. We don't have soccer." And he said, "Go with what you know." And that was agriculture. So I went to Arkansas State, minored in ag business and plant science. Like you, my sorority sisters, when I walked in with a big floppy hat for a race day, and I said, "My name's Micah Garahan, and my major is agriculture business." They said, "What? What does that do?" So it was, but then as we go on our parties in the sorority, and they're like, "Oh, there's Garahan, she's in our class," because that's what everybody else was doing at that school too, was agriculture. So that's what I did. I went with what I knew, and it was ag business and plant science. Did a few internships in Washington, D.C. While I was in school, and it was absolutely just mind-blowing, open your eyes to the world level of agriculture and what's done on the national level. And I've been lucky to work in it ever since. Started with one of the ABCD grain giants, ADM, in Indiana, and then moved around with them for a little bit. And now I am in West Helena, Arkansas, and I work for the largest exporter of rough rice in the United States. So along with the Garahan Ag business, that I have. So it's come full circle. Every job I've had has given me the knowledge to take into the next one, from seed to chemical to banking. It all wraps in together. So I've been blessed with it.
It's great. It's a great answer. And you're right. Agriculture, obviously, an international industry. It's far-reaching around the world. And all the various industry segments do collaborate and work together. You mentioned finance. We're about to talk with Andrew about finance. From sales to farming, and everywhere in between. It uniquely touches everybody, and it's just fascinating. And I have hired someone that's a developer years ago that's a young lady that grew up on the family farm, and she really didn't want to sit in a tractor. That's what her family did for generations and generations and generations. She really didn't want to do that, but she was excellent at science and math and technology. And so now she's actually writing software for traceability of the origin of cotton. And companies like Levi's and Brooks Brothers and others are using her software. So she's in ag, but you wouldn't connect the dots looking at it that way. So she's contributing, she's part of that heritage, and just in a different avenue. So it's really unique how all that fits together. Moving into finance, Andrew, what gave you the nudge to move into agriculture and the respect you currently have with agriculture?
Yeah, I'm up here basically by the grace of God, right? He brought me here. I grew up on a small farm. My father raised cattle and hogs, and he actually worked for the farm credit system as well. And I loved business. I loved finance. Math was probably the only subject in school I was really good at. Even today when I send out emails, I'll have to have somebody proofread it to make sure I got my grammar right? But graduated, went to the University of Memphis, got a degree in finance, and was coming out of school and was about to take a job at another financial institution here. And one of my friends I went to school with said, hey, Farm Credit's got a position open. Why don't you apply for that? And applied and went that direction, already taken the other job. And really the best and greatest blessing that I could have ever had. Don't know, when you grow up in it, sometimes I think you take it for granted, but over the years the dots have just connected to where the people, as you mentioned, everybody's always so willing and open to share, help you in any way you can, and you just see how you can play such a small part in something that is so much bigger than yourself. And that's been the greatest thing for me, I guess. So
Excellent.
Glad to be involved.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. Good. And connecting the dots is something very interesting. So I grew up in South Haven, Mississippi, and I went to school in Walls, Mississippi, big cotton producing area at the time. And for years and years and years, you ride the bus past all the cotton fields, just day after day after day for years and years and years. And we didn't grow up in agriculture. We didn't farm, but you were connected to the agriculture community. And we would sit in math class and we'd hear the crop dusters overhead, and things like that. And so looking back, it's like I never saw that I would be in the industry in a different, unique way, but agriculture certainly had its roots in me for many, many years. And it's fascinating, and like you said, it's a blessing to be a part of it. Moving into the next question, so what advice would you have, and we'll start with Allison again, to students and young professionals looking to enter into the agriculture industry and make a positive impact?
I think for any industry, you need to find a passion. And what do you like to do, right? So I struggled with it a lot as a kid, and then growing up of thinking, what's my passion? I like a lot of things. There's just not, when I wake up, there's one thing that I enjoy doing. I like to learn every day. And so my passion became people. And so whether that was in ag or something else, my passion was people. So my goal every day is to help someone. And I get to do that in a really unique way in agriculture with the company that I work for, but also with the people that I work with. And so, for example, this past weekend we had some pretty devastating tornadoes in the South Delta. And my team spent a lot of their personal time this last weekend helping those families in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, and trying to climb out of the devastation that they're going through, right? That was an ag community helping an ag community. And so my advice today is to find something that really makes you tick inside. and that makes you smile when you do it. And if you can find that, when you get up every day, you'll enjoy your work, and make sure that you're giving back as well while you're doing it.
That's excellent advice. Find what you love, and if you do that, it won't feel like work. That's great. What about you, Micah? What kind of advice would you have for young professionals looking at agriculture and all the challenges we've got, but also the opportunities with advanced technology and things like that? What kind of advice would you give the up-and-coming young professional?
Well, I think I'd have to agree with you and Allison. Find your passion, but in agriculture, there's fashion for clothing. There's leather works. There's soy and corn oil. There's cooking. There's anything you do on a daily basis. Agriculture is going to touch it. There's finance. There's technology. Things are changing daily, and if that's what you're driven to is something development of a path of a computer system. Okay, you can do it, and you can incorporate agriculture with it. And that's where I think you've got to find your niche, what you like daily to do, and roll with it.
I like it. That's great. Find what you love and roll with it. That's good. Andrew?
Yeah, I guess start figuring out where your gift and talents. What are the things that you've been blessed with to where you can start using those gifts and talents to impact others? Ask your teachers, ask your parents. Have those and start planning. How do I do that to help serve and impact the others around me? I think like Allison said. But focus on that now. If you do that, it'll all come together.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Moving on to some other questions specifically for you, Allison. Can you share an example of a product or service from Corteva or others that has made a significant impact on farmers' lives and productivity?
Yeah, so for those of that you don't know who Corteva Agriscience is, it is a global company that produces seed, so cotton, corn, wheat, grain sorghum, myriad of other things, as well as crop protection products, so those things that we spray over our crops in order to keep pests and weeds out of our fields. But we're also a trait company and doing with a lot of things. With the only pure play ag company right now that's U.S. based. And so one of the things, whether we talk about sustainability or we talk about how we've helped the farmer, one of the products we produce is called a nitrogen stabilizer. So we know that to grow crops, you need to have fertilizer, and a lot of that fertilizer can be nitrogen. And when you place nitrogen out in the field, a lot of it's lost to the environment. And so we have products that we treat the nitrogen with. In order to make it more stable in the ground, you have to use less of it, and the farmer gets more out of that nitrogen, and so that the plant is more efficient. So sustainably, the farmer's able to use less, which is good for our environment, and then makes us be more efficient. So that's just one little small example of the things that Corteva is trying to do to impact the farmer, make them more efficient. Because at the end of the day, what we have to do is we have to provide solutions for growers, right? We're all in this together. We've got a finite amount of resources out here, right? There's a finite amount of land that you can grow crops on or raise livestock on, and there's a finite amount of water. And so we've got to find ways to more efficiently do that, and we've got to collaborate with other industries together and to figure out how to make the farmer more successful, which provides more food and clothing for all of us that are sitting in this room.
Excellent, thank you. And a question for you, Micah, specifically based on your grain merchandising experience. So how has the grain merchandising industry and the segment evolved over the years, and what role has technology played in that?
Technology has played possibly the biggest role. On the Chicago Board of Trade, if you look at 20 years ago, pictures of the trade floor, there was hundreds of men and women throwing cards around and trying to get bids and trying to get the attention of what it was Mr. Speaker. He was up here, and so they're trying to get his attention to get those bids to trade in and out. And now that's non-existent. It's all done by computers. So that has traded, I mean, we went to an international trade at some level also, that anybody could come in and trade, and it's not like a club anymore like it used to be. Anybody can do it. You can do it from your computer or your phone, and that's been a huge, I guess, advantage, because it allows anybody to do it. However, there are disadvantages of that also, and that's what the industry is coming through to fruition to see how to handle it.
Great, yeah, and if you look at the history, like cotton, we were a cotton trading marketplace from the seam. And then if you look at the history of the cotton, Memphis Cotton Exchange here, it's a museum now downtown. The open outcry, all that used to be the main way of trading, and now they can trade online, millions of bales of cotton instantly. It's totally changed, and I'm sure it has in the grain side as well. It's very fascinating to see, and thank you for that. This will be the last question based on their time constraint for Andrew. Andrew, what are the major challenges that farmers face when seeking financing, and how does Farm Credit help address those?
I guess, Mark, that depends on the type of farmer and the situation, right? So a young farmer that's starting, trying to get their feet going and may not have support from a family member, that could be totally different from someone who is in financial stress. One of the biggest things we see is the financial knowledge, and how we as a member-owned cooperative will come together and work with young farmers to educate. One good thing about our Growing Forward Young Farmer program is most of the time, I mean, we have our financial officers or loan officers, we have those that stay here for a long, long time. And as they go through this program, they're tied directly with that financial officer to help work with them, mentor them, educate them to grow and be successful within their field and what they're trying to accomplish.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That's great. And cheers to Farm Credit. We've got a little place in Somerville that we got about 15 years ago. And thanks to Farm Credit, we were able to get it. And they've been a great partner with us as well, personally. But thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to the panelists. Wonderful. If you could give a round of applause, please.
Thank you very much to our panelists, Mark, Allison, Andrew, and Micah. That was tremendous insight into how agriculture impacts our lives. Next comes the high point of the 2023 Ag Day celebration, the announcement of the 2023 Ag Day Art Contest winners and the presentation of their awards. Wait, let me say that again. Next comes the high point of our 2023 Ag Day celebration, the announcement of the 2023 Ag Day Art Contest winners and the presentation of their awards. All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right. This year's Ag Day contest was open to all students, grades 3 through 12 in Shelby, Fayette, and Tipton counties in Tennessee, and DeSoto County in Mississippi. The theme of this year's contest was agriculture as a part of your life. The entries were divided into categories according to the grade levels of the students. Category 1 was for grades 3 through 5. Category 2 was for grades 6 through 8, and Category 3 for grades 9 through 12. Now, I'm going to start with the third place winners. They get $25 prize. Second place gets $50 prize for their submissions. And then first place gets a good C-note, gets a whole $100 bill. Additionally, the art teacher for the first place winners also gets a $100 award as well. Now, welcome to the stage this guy. He's our education guru of the Agri Center. He's also the UT Extension agent. I'm speaking of none other than the great, the amazing, the fabulous Tim Roberts. So Tim will make a few comments, and then he will go with the award winners and presentation of the awards. Here you go, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Larry, for that introduction. Wow, I need to get you to introduce me every time. So, good afternoon. Welcome, and thank you for being here today for our Ag Day celebration. So far, how have you liked it so far? Has it not been amazing? But we are to the most important part for, I know, several of you guys sitting out there, right? Okay. So just a few words first. I have the pleasure of introducing a couple of our new team members to our education team. We have Miss Kelly Revelier, that is... She has been here since October, and you'll be seeing a lot more of her, okay? So we also have Miss Kyla Simplinski. She's been with us since January, and for Michael and I, it's welcome to have some new blood into the education team, and we're looking for it to be bigger and better from this point forward. So we're glad to have both of you guys here today. Kelly is going to present the Division 1 or Category 1. Kyla will do Category 2. And then with us today also is Miss Stephanie Stalins, that's going to also do our Category 3. She is with Helena Agri Enterprises, and also she is a part of the Mid-South NAMA. So we're glad to have her today. So I'm going to turn it over to Kelly to get things started.
Thank you all for the applause. I appreciate that. So as Mr. Tim mentioned, I am here to present Division 1 winners. So I'm going to ask my division winners in no particular order if they wouldn't mind joining me on stage. If I can have Miss Ava Moore. Miss Aubrey Burris. And Mr. Cole Tyree. Awesome. Thank y'all for joining me up here. So first, I'm going to start off with our third place winner. Okay, our Division 1 third place winner is Mr. Cole Tyree. And he is with us today from Gateway Christian Academy. And his submission was actually a video, which we're all going to have an opportunity to watch at this moment. Awesome. Good job, Cole. Also, now for our second place winner, we have Miss Ava Moore. And she comes with us from Cordova Elementary. And then also our first place winner is Miss Aubrey Burris from Donaldson Elementary. And I do want to share with y'all that each winner, all of our winners actually received 3 certificates. One is from the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, the Shelby County Mayor's Office, as well as from the Agri Center, okay? And as mentioned before, our third place winners, they get $25. Our second place winners get $50, and our first place winners get $100. And with that being said, we have Miss Natalie Morgan, who is our first place winner's teacher, if you don't mind joining us. Thank you. And as mentioned, Miss Natalie will be receiving a $100 check as well, or $100 for her student winning first place. So with that being said, the Division I is closed, and I'm going to ask Miss Kyla Simplinsky to come up here to announce our Division II winners, please.
Hello, everyone. So for our Division II, it was open to grades 6th through 8th. Could I please, for our Division II winners, could I please have Charlotte Buckholtz, Kennedy Brooks, and Caden McCauley come up to the stage, please? All right, great job to all of our entries. So in third place from Arlington Middle School, we have Caden McCauley. Good job. Right. In second place, we have Charlotte Buckholtz from Arlington Middle School. Oh, I guess Charlotte couldn't be with us today. And our first place winner is Kennedy Brooks from Arlington Middle School. And the winning and would her art teacher from Arlington Middle School, Mrs. Diane Graves, please come up. Is she here with us? Is Miss Diane Graves here? All righty, that is our Division II 6th through 8th grade art contest. Great job to all of our youth. Your artwork was spectacular. Good job, everyone. For Division III, I'm going to have Mrs. Stephanie Stallings present our high school division.
Good afternoon. For Division III, grades 9th through 12th, can I have the following students join me on stage? Samantha Beck, Maya Rollins, and London Christian. All right, thank you guys. Our third place winner is Maya Rollins from Arlington High School. She's not with us. Great. Okay. Our second place winner is Samantha Beck, also with Arlington High School. And our first place winner is London Christian from Home Life Academy. And we have a video to watch from her.
Hi, my name is London Christian. As an emerging artist and dancer, agriculture is part of my everyday life. What is agriculture? Agriculture is the development, production, processing, and marketing of food and fiber products. What does that have to do with the dancer? I'll show you. Here is a photo of me in my point shoes, and without agriculture, I wouldn't be dancing on these amazing hardwood floors, or I wouldn't be dancing in my amazing point shoes, great tights, and great leotards. As a healthy artist, proper nutrition is critical for stamina, muscle development, and focus. Let's dig deeper into nutrition. Good nutrition leads to a healthy lifestyle. As a dancer, I need 45 grams of protein every day. This is my dad. As you can see, he's wearing his green Ford shirt, and he is also cooking my 45 grams of protein that I need. I also get my nutrients from cows. I love cheeseburgers, lasagna, chili, and tacos. Oh, and by the way, this is my family's farm. It is called the Motley Farm. It was established in 2009. As we all know, our clothes are made out of cotton, and cotton comes from cotton plants. But did you know that almost everything that we use are made out of cotton, such as this chair that I'm sitting in, blankets, pillows, couches, and let me think, what else? Oh, and my point shoes. I know, cool, right? This is my brother Reese, and did you know that toothpaste was made out of cornstarch? I brush my teeth 2 times a day, every day. Did you also know that lipstick and other makeup products are made out of cornstarch? This is how agriculture is a part of my everyday life. Without agriculture, I wouldn't be where I am today.
What a great video. Thank you for sharing part of your everyday life. Can I have your teacher, Giselle Motley, join us on stage? And mom. All right. Oh, careful. Okay. You okay? Congratulations. Thank you to all of our entrants in the 9th through 12th grade. Congratulations, winners. I believe I'm handing this over to John Butler. No? Oh? Okay, Larry.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I said the right place, the right time. Miss London, Kadzukian would like to offer you an internship for this summer. So in addition to that, Cole, you're a little young, but when you get older, keep doing it because he's a budding filmmaker. So once again, we got a spot for you at Kadzukian as well. So for you all that don't know this, Kadzukian is leading up the creation of an agriculture channel, an agriculture media channel that's going to be available for everyone. It's going to be distributed through all your podcast platforms, but in addition to that, it's going to be distributed through your Roku, Apple TV, and your connected television channels. So be on the lookout. It's called Grow Tennessee. It'll be featuring what we do here in Tennessee, because we bad, we tough like that. So I want to thank you, Stephanie, Colleen, Agriculture Center, Agri-Center's education team, and especially congratulations to all the winners. Let me see. I think I'm going to turn this back over to you, John, our fearless leader. All right.
Hey, so let's give Larry a round of applause, right? Best MC in the land. So I also want to congratulate the winners, and what I love is how the program's changed over the last couple of years. We've allowed videos to be submitted. We've also expanded eligibility around different counties, and I have heard that we're going to reach out into Arkansas next year as well. So for those of you that are listening online or watching, just be aware that if you're not in a county currently, free to submit something to us. We're happy to consider that. But let's give all of our winners one more round of applause. And I know parents, grandparents, everybody in the room that's related to one of the award winners, I know you're absolutely, gleaming with, I guess the pride of having the opportunity to witness your child or loved one walk through, but the artistic ability that goes in to create something like that, I'll just be honest with you, I dream for that. So I'm the guy that can't draw a stick pony. So I certainly have the utmost respect for everything you young men and young ladies presented here today. And the total number of participants was 251. So what you see here is just a sampling of some of the creative art that was collected in this process. So, and I've also heard that due to the, I guess you'd say, the attention and the excellent opportunity to participate, there's going to be expanded, I guess you'd say, opportunities. And don't worry, that's just a few things rustling on the roof. And, when you're in a barn, you can expect all kinds of things to happen. I think the only other job I have is to communicate to you how thankful we are that you shared your time with us, and also invite you, like I said earlier, to join me at the upper barn for an ice cream social, which means you get to pick whatever flavor, color combinations, all that cool stuff. There's sprinkles, all kind of toppings. And if you have any question on what to use, again, just use me as your model. I'll be trying all of them, I hope. So have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining us for our National Ag Day celebration. And again, congratulations to all of our young artists.